Act 1, Scene 1. Essex County, Millburn, New Jersey, early spring 2009. The grand foyer of a house for sale at the close of a grand tour. There's a small table with a vase of beautiful flowers, a small tray of cookies, copied spec sheets, and an open registry, perhaps behind a barrier of some sort. Perhaps there's an open house banner, a picture of a realtor, a single helium welcome balloon, and or a visible for sale sign. Denitra Morgan, 37, is babysitting the tray of cookies while checking out the features of the room. Beverly Long, 42, enters as if to leave. Beverly inadvertently drops her spec sheet while preparing.
Hey, you dropped your...
Oh, thank you. Not that I need it, since there's very little room for negotiation.
Yes, very little.
You heard in there what she...
Yes, I heard.
Oh, okay. I thought that maybe it was just me, that I was being...
No, it wasn't you. She was being very...
800,000 and very little room for negotiation. As if I couldn't possibly.
As if neither of us could.
As if we were obviously.
Like she knows how much.
But she doesn't know.
How could she know?
She assumes.
Well, we know what happens when one assumes.
Oh, and that look, like...
Like this is directed towards you.
Yes.
Did you pick up on what she say in the kitchen? Millburn's not the most diverse community, but where it lacks in diversity, it makes up in safety, or some such nonsense.
Oh, goodness gracious, I know.
I had to look to my right and look to my left like, no, she did.
I know.
Like it was a selling point. Like nothing was wrong with her.
I had it when she said, here in Millburn, we don't have to worry about urban vandalism or drugs. Like there are no drugs.
Drugs in Millburn. Are you serious? What planet?
She's delusional.
And urban's just a euphemism for.
Oh, I know.
Owner-occupied neighborhood, no forced busing in schools. I know what that means.
Oh, that coded, covert way of saying.
That's why I turned to my daughter and I said, let's take a walk.
Oh, no. I thought you left.
Oh, no, we don't run from stupid, coward to ignorance. No. I told Noelle, we don't need her to give us a tour. Go and see all you want to see. Every cabinet, every closet, every fixture. This is a house open to the public. That's what open house means. And you, sweetheart, are part of the public. Have a cookie, venture forth.
Good for you.
And I dare that woman to say something to my child.
Oh, she won't.
She better not. In 2009?
I know. You'd think by now.
You'd think.
There's a black man in the White House.
I know.
Do we look like some poor ragamuffins out of the projects of Newark? No, we're clearly two beautiful, capable, educated black women. I have a degree. I have 3. What if I wasn't from Jersey? If I'd never been to Millburn? This lady would lead me to believe that this sort of thinking was indicative of this town, right?
Yeah.
I've got half a mind to write a letter to the state realty board.
You think that would make a difference? Please. I ain't got time to be writing letters and forging battles. I got a child to raise.
Me too.
I mean, who has the energy to be convincing? At the end of the day, I see it as her loss. I know I'm a lovely person.
As am I.
You are.
So are you.
We are lovely people.
Clearly. House is overpriced anyway. It's been listed on the market for nearly a year.
I guess that's what happens when there's
very little room for negotiation. Beverly.
Denitra.
Pleasure. Have you been in the market for a while?
No, not for long. Not sure I'm moving anywhere really.
What's got you looking? The school?
Yeah. She is starting high school in the fall, so.
Where is she now?
Where's she going to school?
Yes.
Maplewood. Right over in, that's where we live, Maplewood.
Nice.
We like it.
But Maplewood schools are good.
Yeah, they are. But I wonder if Millburn's better.
My son will be a sophomore at Millburn High this fall.
Okay.
I'll be working for the district.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Hey, that's a good strategy. Work for the district. I wish I had thought. Are they still hiring?
Oh, I don't.
Do they need a corporate attorney? We'll work for quality education.
I wish. No, there is no such perk. Employees have to live here too.
Really?
Mhm. If you want to go to school, you have to pay property taxes or private school tuition. Pick your poison. I say at least with the former, you get some equity.
Gotta pay if you want to play.
At least we can. Imagine if we were stuck in another worse, if we couldn't afford to,
Yeah.
I don't know what those parents do. Hope it works out. Pray.
Beg, borrow, lie, cheat their way.
Of course they do. Wouldn't you?
Yeah, I guess I would.
I definitely would. What parent wouldn't?
Do what you gotta do.
Do what you gotta do. I'm just glad I'm fortunate enough to be in a position where I don't have to make those kinds of decisions.
Yeah, me too.
Act 1, Scene 2. This is Breaker 5. Breaker 5 reporting from the West Entrance. Over. A year and a half later, Monday morning, October 18th, 2010, Beverly's office, Millburn High School, Millburn, New Jersey. All around is organized evidence of an administrator overwhelmed. Mike DiMaggio stands reading the information on a bulletin board hanging from the wall. Newspaper articles, letters, etc. Principal Beverly Long, ED, enters.
Breaker 5, maintain your post. Students must only be able to exit through the main building at dismissal. Copy?
Copy that.
Oh, I am so sorry about that. Sorry about the wait.
No problem.
Perimeter walk took longer than expected. More safety protocols. It's like just when we've implemented one policy, another one just...
Another one pops up like termites out of the woodwork. I know how that goes.
Why don't you have a seat, Mr.
Oh, Christ, where's my manners? DiMaggio, Mike DiMaggio, at your service.
Glad to meet you.
Same.
You'll have to excuse the...
Hey, I worked in a police precinct with 50 guys. You ain't seen a mess.
So you were a police officer?
Oh, yeah, I did 35 years on the streets. Lieutenant Detective, Millburn Police Department.
35. Wow. That's...
I know what you're thinking. How's a handsome, interesting fellow like myself who don't look a day over 40? How'd he manage to put 35 years on the job?
That was exactly what I was thinking.
Some people just got good genes.
True.
Black ain't the only thing that don't crack, eh?
I assume you've done this work before?
Private investigation?
For schools, specifically.
Yeah, I've done plenty. Truancy, border hopping.
Border hopping?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's what we call residency fraud in the field.
Oh.
Yeah, I've been freelancing for the past 6 years, all over Jersey. I could do it with my eyes closed.
Well, don't do that.
Oh, I didn't mean I'd actually close my eyes. I
Because
just mean,
these circumstances are
second
not
nature.
your ordinary.
No. I understand. What's going on here ain't regular. It's serious.
To say the least.
Yeah, shame. Something like this has got to happen to get people to wake up, stop living in a fairy tale land, and they realize they got to be, people think because they're a couple towns over, there's, Trader Joe's, they're immune to this kind of stuff happening over here, but nobody's immune. There's no wall keeping them out over there and us over here. It's, just a line in the dust. And once that line gets crossed, well, once the outside element gets in, well, we got ourselves a problem.
Yeah.
Like now, they're saying that shooting of your student, Marvin, Malik, whatever. They're saying that it could be gang related.
This evidence suggests that this was gang related?
His being from Newark, for one.
Oh. Well, that doesn't make him a gang member.
Wait, see, that's the common misconception. You don't have to be a gang member for it to be gang related.
Wait, you lost me.
Well, you could have had a brother or a cousin.
A brother?
Or a cousin, somebody close who, I mean, you think about it. A boy was born and raised in the projects in Newark and not knowing no gang members. It ain't impossible, but it ain't likely. The shooting was basically a drive-by. Got gang MO written all over it.
God, that's the last thing I need.
Yeah, I know, but this kid,
Malik.
God rest his soul. I mean, nobody's child should be, it's beyond my, I can't even imagine. No kid should ever have to,
He was a good kid.
He may have been a good kid. He may have been the love child of Mr. Rogers and Mary Poppins, but good kid or not, he shouldn't have been here. And falsifying government documents, well, that's stealing public services. It's a crime, a felony in some states. Don't matter what kind of kid he was. Law's the law.
No, you're right. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Principal Long? Oh, no. Hold him. I will be right out. Okay. I'm sorry. If you'll excuse me for one moment, I have to confer with my vice principal before dismissal.
Of course.
Oh, I'll be right back. 'Tis the life.
Beverly exits. Mike sits for a while. He rises to peruse the room, looking at Beverly's accolades and framed photos. He sees her degrees.
Princeton.
Denitra enters, shocking Mike. She carries a letter.
Knock, knock, Beverly. Oh, I didn't, sorry. Hi, is Principal Long here?
Yeah, she just stepped out.
Oh, did she say when she'd be back?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Great.
I don't think she'll be long. Hey, if you want to stick around, I don't mind, I'd rather not be in the principal's office all by myself, Too many memories, eh?
Mike
Hey,
picks the paper.
yeah, I can divide it if you want, I've got the paper here.
I actually can just get it on it's fine.
I don't see how anybody can read those little screens.
It is hard sometimes.
You told me 30 years ago that people would be reading the news on little handheld gadgets. I'd say you lost your mind. No, I need the actual paper, nuts and bolts.
Mm-hmm.
Local papers can barely stay in business. Only the big news guys can really get a following on those little things. They're all, well and good, but hey, they're not going to report stuff on the little guy. For instance, you live here in Millburn?
Yes.
Okay, so you know about the BP oil spill out in the Gulf?
Yes.
Well, of course, yeah. And you can't miss that one. And you hear about that mosque that they want to build on Ground Zero, right?
Yes, I've heard that.
Okay, but do you know about the zoning ordinance hoopla right here in town?
What's the hoopla?
Well, there's a synagogue over on Jefferson and Old Short Mills Road, just past the, when you drive up Old Short Hills, a little past the middle school.
Right.
Yeah, well, right there. It's pretty residential, right?
Yes.
Well, that's because they got zoning ordinances passed to make sure it stays that way, residential. But the synagogue, well, it wants to come along and violate the ordinance and build a 16,000 square foot building smack dab in the middle, like bam, with like no regards to just bam. They only got 75 worshipers. What do they need so much space?
I don't know really why they need
Because, they don't just want to pray, I went around, I'm a part of this organization called Concerned Citizens of Millburn. Yeah. Well, I did some investigating for them. I drove around a couple times and I saw them erecting tents and catering trucks and balloons. And they said it was just a place for worship, but clearly,
Mm-hmm.
what of that? Anyway, the ordinance clearly states that the buildings of public assembly built in that area have to be have so much space between them and the houses. Anybody could look it up, public information, but it's got to be on a 3-acre plot. Is that plot 3 acres?
No.
Not even close. No, yeah. Yet and still they want the zoning board to approve the application. Now, is that right?
No.
No, it ain't. Now, personally, I could care less whether or not they pray or do whatever they want. None of my business. Mazel tov. I'm an Italian Catholic. Ain't nobody's business where I say my Hail Marys. You know what I mean? But the issue is bigger than that. The community is designed to be a certain way. If the zoning board breaks the rules, what's to stop the other folks from, next thing you know, you'll have people coming in from God knows where. And I don't know about you, but the last thing I need to be worried about is whether or not my community is going to be livable in the next 20 years or so,
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I stay involved. That's why we all got to stay involved. Read the local papers, not that little gadget you got there about what's going on in Afghanistan. There you go. Yeah. I don't know if you're into town politics, but there's a community association I told you about I'm part of, the Concerned Citizens of Millburn. You may have seen us. We recruit sometimes outside the post office.
No. But I don't go to the post office much.
Yeah, well, we have newcomer meetings every Friday night right after work. We're looking to get as many people involved as possible. We want it to be a, diverse, a group, a united front. Everybody who lives here, who cares, you should come if you can. Everybody's got to be actively involved. Everybody, you can't complain about what happens if you don't get involved.
True.
So whereabouts you live?
Us? Oh, we live,
All right, let us,
Bev, hi, Principal Long.
Denitra,
I'm sorry to.
are we supposed to meet?
No, this isn't scheduled.
Is everything all right?
You tell me.
Tell you what?
What'd she do?
What did who do?
You don't know what I'm talking about?
I haven't the faintest idea.
Isn't the principal the only one with the power to suspend students?
Suspend? Who?
Noelle.
What?
Yes.
Okay. I'm almost finished here. Give me a few moments to finish up with Mrs. DiMaggio, and I'll be right with you, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, so it'll be all right.
I'll just wait.
Yeah, that's good.
You need to exits, Mike watches.
Crazy. The perfect crazy end to the perfectly crazy Monday.
Well, you know what they say.
What's that?
When it rains, everything gets wet.
Okay, why don't we,
Yeah, let's do it.
so where did we leave off?
At the beginning.
Right.
Well, everything starts with the enrollment analysis report.
So what's that?
Well, it's essentially what I do basically is I take all the names from your rolls, every single student, and I plug them into a database of public records, tax assessors, post office, that kind of thing. And then the computer spits out a report, all the addresses associated with the names in the public record.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then I compare those addresses to the addresses on the registration information that you have on file for each student.
Okay.
You follow? I know it's a little complicated.
I'm following.
And then the computer spit out another report of all the discrepancies, all the names where the addresses they claim with you is nowhere to be found in the public record. That'll be the basis of my investigation, the red flag list.
Got it.
Yeah, they say to expect anywhere between 1% and 2% of the total enrollment in violation.
Okay, what's that? That'll be what?
Somewhere between 14, 28 students.
That's it. That's not, I mean, one student is one too many, but that is certainly not the epidemic they'd have us
Well,
think.
I'm expecting more. Millburn's gone without an enrollment purge for quite a while, from what I understand.
That's right.
So there'll probably going to be a lot of names rolling in from the fraud hotline. There'll be
Oh, no, we're not doing that.
What?
No.
What? No?
No, we've already gone
not?
because we've already gone through a shooting. We don't need to go through a witch hunt too. In all honesty, I'm hoping any remaining violators quickly realize that this is serious and they just withdraw their children before the board meeting. Save us all the time, the money.
You trying to put me out of business here? No, I'm just, busting you, pulling your leg.
I'd actually love to put you out of business, Mr. DiMaggio. I love for this whole thing to just.
Hey, I'd love for that to happen too, but that nobody had but the rules is what they are. And there's always going to be somebody willing to break the rules, right?
Unfortunately.
Yeah. What the district really needs to think about is investing in a permanent PI position.
A PI. Say, like you.
Hey, you could do worse.
I don't know where we get the budget.
Let me ask you, how much does it cost here per student per year? Ballpark.
17,000, give or take.
So the district could lose 17 grand on one kid staying in school who don't belong.
As long as the district doesn't hire another teacher or add a classroom, it really doesn't cost.
Yeah, but generally speaking, 17 grand.
Generally speaking.
Yeah. So if 100 students end up being non-residents, that's what? 1.7 mil? That could be saved, right?
In theory.
Well, let's just say it would cost the district 20 grand to retain a guy like me every year, hypothetically speaking.
All right.
But I could potentially save you 1.7 mil. See how I did that?
I did.
Yeah. Well, spend 20,000 to save a mil, kicking out two non-resident kids, that would be more than pay for my retainer fee. I got a buddy contracted with the district in Bergen County. They got the same problem. Parents lying left and right. He naps at least 5 to 10 kids every year per school. The service basically pays for itself. Yeah. Here. I made this brochure to share with my higher ups. It breaks it all down, results you can expect in a year, 2, 5. I'm sure with your endorsement.
Thank you.
Having a PI on staff is a detriment in and of itself.
As it stands, I'm really focused on the current crisis. Once we make it to solid ground, then I can think about it.
Sure. But something to put on your back burner.
Will do. So what's the next step?
Well, next step basically is I get started on my report, then hit the field, start knocking on doors.
Okay. Do you need any support, any supplies, anything from us?
I could use a hotline. Yeah, not just kidding.
Well, if you need anything, please don't be shy.
Shy? Forget about it.
All right. Then I will see you next Monday with an update.
Okay.
Beverly opens the door for Mike to leave. Denitra enters. As he exits, Mike salutes Denitra in the exchange. Beverly shuts the door before Mike is able to say a formal goodbye.
Come on in. Now, what happened?
The truancy office called me this morning to say that Noel was suspended indefinitely as of last Friday for not turning in some paperwork for the audit, which is just, I mean, to not let her go to class for some paperwork?
Did you submit her updated residency document?
Of course, weeks ago.
Lord.
It doesn't make any sense.
These people, I don't know how much more I can impress upon them the importance of keeping consistent and accurate records. Our work is being audited. I cringe to think, oh, if there are errors in a Wells record, a child we know has residency, how many other students?
I can't afford to be leaving work to come up here every time.
I can't afford these kinds of mistakes. Not now. I'm being blamed for nothing that is.
Blaming you for what?
Referring to a newspaper clipping about Malik on the bulletin board?
For?
Yeah.
No.
Don't believe? Got served this morning.
Served as in sued?
Negligence endangerment. That's the charge.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, is it against the district, the school, or?
Oh, no. I'm named specifically as principal. Suddenly, I'm principal. When I want budget changes, I'm just the interim principal. When I want to implement new programs, I'm interim principal. But when folks start getting indicted, now I'm in charge.
Oh, hun.
And it's their rationale that kills me. They're saying I negligently allowed this boy into the school and his lethal presence endangered their children. It's just,
My God.
like, I was supposed to know that his parents were lying. Now they're saying he was in a gang or
Wait, who are these people suing you?
parents, a group of parents who have been out to get me ever since the shooting. Before the police report even revealed Malik's residence, they were,
The PTO.
no, not the PTO. The PTO is very supportive. No, these parents, they're a part of the concerned citizens something. I don't know what they're calling themselves.
The Concerned Citizens Council of Millburn Township.
Yeah. Wait, how did you? Where did you get this?
The man who was here.
Wait, the man who just left?
Yeah, he asked if I lived in town, and I told him and told me that they were concerned citizens.
You're kidding, right?
No, he was telling me all about it. Like,
He's a part of this?
yeah.
This is the group that they want me out, Denitra.
Okay, calm down. Don't jump to any conclusion.
No. You don't understand, Denitra. People are bunkering down. Since the shooting, it's been nothing but damage control and positioning. Everyone making sure that they won't. And now they've got me sleeping with the enemy? Oh my, they're trying to set me up to take the fall. Oh my God.
Don't go off the deep end.
My God. Okay, but what should I do legally? What should I do in your professional opinion to protect myself?
I don't. It's not my kind of law. I do
Well, what kind of attorney do I need?
civil. I don't.
But I should get my own attorney though, right? Not rely on the district's counsel?
Definitely.
My God, if I wanted drama, I would have stayed in Newark.
You were in Newark?
Yep, sure was.
Girl, you never told me that.
Assistant superintendent for curriculum and instruction.
Fancy.
And picked by the governor.
Really?
Yep.
What happened?
I quit. Now, I've never quit anything in my life, but I quit that. Sure did.
Why?
Because I didn't go to undergrad, grad, and post-grad to spend my days getting cursed out at board meetings by parents who call you a sellout for trying to educate them, and colleagues who throw you under the bus for telling the truth. I earned more than that. I deserved better. Jordan deserved better.
Wait, you had Jordan in school there too?
How would it look if I had my child in another school district?
People do it. I bet half the Newark staff lives in Glen Ridge and Montclair. I bet none of them send their kids to Newark schools.
And I know why. Have you ever spent any time in a Newark high school?
No, I mean, I've heard some things.
Well, part of my job was to do a walkthrough in every school in the district to observe the teacher. Now, the elementary and the middle schools were generally fine. Jordan went to Hawthorne Elementary, excellent school. But the high school, something shifts. I remember being on a walkthrough in Jordan's high school, and I decided to sneak away from the walk to peek in on Jordan's classes. Now, I kept him out of general population. He was in Honors Academy. I made sure, and I never tell him when I'm going to pop up so that way he's always on his best.
I do the same thing.
And I get to his class. What do I see? All the boys are lined up on one side of the room, the girls on the other, facing the wall, spread eagle, while two security officers wand them down. Another walks through the aisle of the class looking through their bags for contraband. The teacher is entering grades, and I tell her who I am, and I ask her, what's going on here? Figuring there was a serious incident of violence. But she casually says, random security check. They pick a classroom at random every morning, like numbers out of a hat. They got my baby on the wall doing the pat down perp walk. He's done nothing wrong. And what kills me is that this was normal. All of it. The hallway, the cursing, the low expectations, the loitering. The kids were used to it. I had become used to it. The teacher was used to having her, to interrupting her lessons for random security checks. I mean, this was a classroom. Supposed to be a learning space, a safe space. But there they were, spread eagle, and not at all bothered by it. Laughing even. And I realized my son was being indoctrinated into prison culture because of my career aspirations. I pulled him out of that school that same day and I quit the next. Just packed my stuff up and walked away right in the middle of curriculum approval. I didn't even finish presenting to the board. I didn't want to be associated with that mayhem, not one more minute. And my Princeton bud told me about what happened here with the previous principal.
What happened?
He was called out for uttering some very non-PC words.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. And rather than deal, after 19 years, he was more than vested. Mm-hmm. So he left. And I was told they were looking for diverse candidates, right?
Of course. And you cover all their bases, female, minority.
You know how it is. But I went for the position anyway and I got it. And I never looked back. And now, just when I think I've rescued my career from being completely derailed, pow! And the irony is I did all of it to keep Jordan away from that. And here he is, having the experience anyhow.
Did Jordan know about the Malik's address?
He says no. Or he may have. They were friends. There were only 8 black boys in the entire school, and they gravitated toward each other.
How's he holding up?
Oh, I'm trying to get him to talk, the process. He said to me the other night, Mom, why does it matter where you go to school as long as you go?
What did you say?
I copped out. I said, that's the way it is. I didn't want to get into zoning and districting and redlining and steering and home rule and the history of education.
Of course.
Yeah, it's exhausting. How's Noelle taking it?
I think she's okay.
Yeah. Her poem at the vigil was just amazing.
She did a good job, didn't she?
I think everyone was stunned.
Why?
Oh, no, not that she could. Look, I just think that's the most anybody's heard from her. I mean, I knew.
I tell her she needs to stop being all shy. You can't spend all your time hanging out in the principal if you want to,
How is she doing in her classes?
Good. It'll be better than last year for sure. She took her first trigonometry exam last Friday, but she wasn't in class today to see how she did. She said she's decided where she wants to go to college.
She did.
She wants to go to Princeton like you.
She? Really?
I mean, I should have known she wouldn't want to follow in my footsteps.
Oh, now.
It is true. It's always principal along this, principal along that. She really looks up to you. Now, I think she didn't come in here and tell you she was suspended like I asked her to because she didn't want you to be disappointed in her.
Tell her I said, don't worry her little head. We'll clear it up.
Speaking of which, what do I need to do?
Right. Well, all you need to do is resubmit the document.
What about the deadline?
Don't worry about the deadline. Have Noelle bring the documents to my office tomorrow first thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll ask Mrs. Madison to walk them over when she makes a trip to the district office. She'll get them logged, tell them it got separated from the bunch somehow.
Okay. And what about the suspension? And I don't want this on her records. Suspended students don't go to Princeton.
Once her name is reinstated, the suspension will be removed from her record. But until then, give Noelle this. She'll have to carry it with her to classes. Tell her not to lose it or forget it. Teachers are instructed to follow protocol, and they will. No one wants to lose their job behind. They'll send her out.
I'll staple it to her chest.
And Denitra, thank you for bringing this issue to me first and not the district. I don't need these kinds of rumors, these kinds of mistakes hid in the rumor mill.
Girl, no problem. I mean, I didn't want to go over there anyhow. Now let me go get her and get home.
I'm right behind you.
Tell Jordan I said, keep your head up.
I will.
And hey, no matter what none of these folks got to say, remember, you're doing a great job, Beverly.
Thank you.
No problem.
Oh, and Denitra.
Yeah?
If you could just shoot me the names of some attorneys, I would appreciate it.
I'll see what I can do.
Denitra exits. Beverly looks at the Citizenship Council flyer and thinks. Act 1, Scene 3. A week later, Monday, October 25th, 2010, Principal Beverly Long, ED's office at Millburn High School, Millburn, New Jersey. She sits with Michael DiMaggio, private investigator. He hands her a report and begins to speak. She shushes him and takes her time reading a bit.
All right, so Mr. DiMaggio.
Hey, you got to stop calling me Mr. DiMaggio. Call me Mike. Mr. DiMaggio is my father.
Your father?
What? I'm too old to have a father?
No, I didn't.
Well, I am. I am too old. But let me tell you something. He keeps trying to tell me what to do. I say to him this morning, Dad, I think the gravy's got too much salt. And he says to me, hey, shut your mouth when you're talking to me. 90 years old. Yeah, they don't make them like that anymore. Contadina dalla Calabria.
What's that?
Farmers from Calabria, the old country, Italy.
Oh.
Yeah, they came here when my father was, just a boy. My grandfather worked as a laborer. Yeah, neither one of them could read or write English. Or when they came here to Newark and never finished school in Italy, they were too poor. But they built themselves up.
So you're from Newark?
Newark. Can't you tell? I was Nicky Newark himself. Original tough guys, cigarettes in my cuff on the t-shirt and everything. I may live in Millburn now, but I ain't no white collar Wall Street tree hugger type.
How long have you been in Millburn?
Well, let's see. Long time, 71, 72. After I was discharged, came home. Newark had gone to, Newark was destroyed after the riots of 67. Yeah, before your time.
The year I was born.
Okay, so, maybe
I remember the aftermath.
So after that, I had to move my parents out to Nutley. Yeah, I was there with them for a while. Then I got on the force here, got married, bought a place. Been here ever since. Over 30 years now.
So you like it here?
What's not to like? It's the best place to raise a family. They
Mm.
don't call it one of America's greatest towns for nothing.
No, they don't.
Yeah, that's why they got to make sure it stays that way, right? And stay involved.
Hmm. So you're involved in the community?
Yeah, I was so before the shooting, but I think everybody's got to get involved if we're gonna, if we don't take care of our community, who will,
So what do you do?
Who?
What does your community involvement entail?
What do you mean?
Like what activities? Is there a particular
Well,
cause you champion?
I'm part of the group, and mainly,
A group?
just,
Ah, and what do you all do?
we look at everything pertaining to, zoning board, school board.
School board?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, what about the school board?
honestly, I don't know much. I just joined the group a couple weeks ago, but I know that they're very involved.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, naturally, I didn't sign up for the school board, committee because, being a PI and all, I thought it might be a conflict of interest.
Yeah, I would think so. But I'm sure they ask you questions for the inside track.
Oh, no, they wouldn't do that.
Oh, I'm sure they would.
No, they wouldn't. And even if they did, I would. I know what the rules are.
Why don't we
Yeah, of course.
so we had 6 voluntary withdrawals this past week.
Yeah, making my job easier, huh?
Beverly hands Mike documents of the withdrawn students.
So you say you identified 3 non-residents this week?
Yeah, sure did. I give you our first offender, Brandon McGuire, 12th grade.
Mike, joyfully in his element, pins the picture of a Caucasian boy on the bulletin board and gives Beverly the file to read.
Said he lived here on Nottingham, according to the county. House does belong to the McGuires, but not to the same first names as listed on the registration form. Other McGuires. Yeah, kid walks there after school, gets picked up around 6, probably by the father. The kid looks like he looks like him. I followed the car. They let off at a house in Springfield, get this, where a Deborah and Jackson McGuire, people listed as the parents on the registration form, are also listed as the owners. I suspect the kid has been domiciled in Springfield and the parents' home. I think Millburn address belongs to his paternal grandparents.
Are we certain the grandparents don't have guardianship?
I think he sleeps there. Never seen him leave the house in the morning for school or nothing. I doubt it.
Well, let's be sure before we recommend restitution.
And expulsion, right?
His parents are going to want him to finish here. He's been here for 3 years already. This will be his 4th. What's 1 more year for continuity?
Nobody schmontinuity.
If he can pay, of course.
That's the case. Anybody from anywhere, as long as they have the money, can come. It's not just the money, is it? It's about the community. The school here is for the kids here. So that's how it's always been. We got to recommend expulsion too, in my opinion. Send a firm message. If they can afford to pay to come here, well, they can afford private.
All right, expulsion and restitution.
Mike places the folder in the expulsion pile.
And number 2, down. And get this, it's a market. Not a bodega where you can live over top. No, no, a supermarket. No housing whatsoever unless you're living in aisle 2 with the cabbages. Yeah, I followed her one night. Kid lives in East Orange. Walks to an apartment building on South Mund Avenue. I have to follow more than once to confirm, but she definitely don't live in Millburn. She races to the bus station after the bell rings. But at least she's only been here a little over the month, so she won't know too much. Expulsion, restitution.
Yes.
Mike moves the folder to the pile.
And the third?
Ah, 2 for the price of 1. Marcus and Omar Maya, 10th and 11th grade.
He posts another photo and hands the folder to Beverly.
Said they lived on Cedar. Looked it up. Old Jewish couple owns it. Followed them 2 nights in a row because I just couldn't believe it. Kids live all the way out in Ironbound. I mean, Ironbound, 3 buses. I have the pictures of them eating dinner through the window. They live there. It's funny. People do the craziest, So they go out of their way to put the Millburn address on the registration form, right? But the mother, she still lists her employment as Mary Maids. The mother's a domestic. I had a hunch, so I called the Mary Maid's office, pretend I'm a client. Turns out the house on Millburn with the Millburn Avenue address is a house on her cleaning list. That's probably how she got the address. Just to use someone's address.
Who's to say that? What if the owners know?
That's a good point. And if they do, well, then shame on them. Come to think of it, it wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, the Jews are the ones always letting people in. Did the same thing in Newark when I was growing up. People don't remember when the whole Weequay section of Newark, it was Jew at first. And then they kept letting it out. Look at it now. They rent to anybody, sell to anybody. They didn't care as long as they were making money. They're the ones, after they left the community, go to hell in a wastebasket. They're the ones who burned their own property for the insurance money. Then they took all the money and then moved to Livingston. And they don't tell you that little known history fact, do they?
No.
Yeah, well, that's how it happened. It's a crying shame. I try to warn people. I was talking to a parent and she was thanking me for investigating. She said she didn't want this town to end up.
You were talking to the parents?
Sure.
Why would you do that, Mike? If you tell people who you are, isn't it difficult to be underground?
The resident. I won't be investigating her.
I'm no detective or expert or anything, but don't private investigators need to maintain their anonymity?
The community interview is a perfectly sound pre-surveillance investigative technique. And if there's not going to be a hotline,
Oh, God.
Well, how else am I going to get tips?
Who says you have to get tips? I didn't hire you to follow tips. I hired you.
Whoa. You didn't hire me at all. The board hired me.
With my recommendation.
Well, regardless, I was hired to do a thorough job.
If everybody knows who you are, how will you be able to do a thorough job?
Listen, I know how to do my job. I've been a detective probably as long as you've been alive, okay? And I had some solid tips come through from my interviews this week. For example, David Parks, not on the list. Tip said he dropped the kid off one night after study session and
David's legitimate.
my informant said he lived in Orange. Orange is all over his registration form, public records, clear as day. Orange.
He does live out of district. David has special permission. He's an athlete. It's in the file.
They give special permission?
Yes. For extenuating circumstances. Health, safety, legacy.
Basketball.
In this case, football. Yes. to give the coaches room to recruit the best talent.
All right. I'm going to need a list of those special permission kids. I don't want them to be spinning my wheels over here.
I'll email Mrs. Scabetta. She'll get you the list. There aren't many, just a few.
You know them?
I'm familiar. I don't know everyone for sure, but
Any of these ring a bell for special permissions? Grace Lee?
I don't.
How about Jeremiah Frankel?
No.
Noel Morgan? 10th grade. Informant said she heard the kid. Informant said her kid overheard Noel mention something at their tennis meet. She's on the red flag list, I think. Just let me.
Is she?
Yeah, there it is. Clear as day. Red flag list. See?
Oh, no. This is wrong.
Oh, the report's never wrong.
No, there's been a mistake.
Special permission?
I don't. Maybe
And
I'm
what
not.
What about Tabitha Spencer?
Come to think of it, I don't think I can really be sure about any of them.
All right.
Yeah, we should wait. You should hold off until we get the official list.
All right. I'll wait on the special permissions. So many lists. Red flag. Special
Actually, all of these from your interviews, you should hold off on all of these until we get the official list. Just focus on the others from the report. Those will be the ones the board is expecting to hear about anyhow. Anything else is just icing on the cake. So just leave these leads. Tabitha, Jeremiah, Noel, etc. Leave them alone.
All right, Captain.
Good. So that's it.
Yeah,
That's today's.
about covers it. We should have the full report next Monday at the latest, just in time for Wednesday's board meeting.
Oh, good.
Hey, I wanted to let you know, I've been working on a presentation for the board meeting. I figured it could be, the intro.
That sounds good.
Yeah, and if you want, I could do the whole presentation, just so they have any questions about, surveillance.
Yeah, that sounds
All right, yeah,
great.
good. That sounds good. Yeah, you all right?
I'm fine.
All right. Monday then.
Monday. Mrs. Madison?
Yes.
Hey, I need a copy of all the registration documents for Noel Morgan, a proof of the residency docs too, the ones you took over to the district office last week.
I remember. Okay. When do you need them?
Like now.
Now. Okay, I'll get them now.
Great, thanks. Oh, I also need to clear the rest of my schedule for today. I have to make a personal run.
Okay. Will do.
Thanks.
She hangs up, grabs her belongings, the red flag list, and exits. Act 1, Scene 4. A half hour later that afternoon, Beverly opens the door to the same open house, perhaps a different open house sign or a different realtor's picture decorates the grand foyer.
Hello? Anyone? Damn it, Denitra.
Beverly exits, blackout, End of Act 1. That evening, an hour or so later, Principal Long holds the red flag list and a copy of the proof of residency documents. She approaches Denitra's apartment door. She stands without knocking. Denitra enters the living room with scrubs on, preparing to leave.
Okay, there's meatloaf in the oven for when you get home. You come straight home after and call me from the house phone. I'll be at my class. Then I picked up a shift. Oh, and Miss Milagros will be checking in. Eyes at the door. Love you. Who is it?
It's Beverly.
Who?
It's Beverly, Denitra. Principal Beverly Long.
Come in.
You used that house. You've been here the whole time, haven't you?
Yes.
I've got to give you credit. You had me fooled. I've been running through our encounters in my mind. The first moment we met, freshman orientation, all those meetings about Noel's classes, scanning my memory for indication clues that I missed. But no, nothing. I thought we were connecting. I thought you were the real deal.
What does that mean, the real deal?
Legitimate residence. And for the record, I want you to know, I believed in your charade so much that even then, with evidence staring me in my face, I gave you the benefit of the doubt. And I said, maybe she decided to pay the $899,000 and actually went to see for myself. Tell me something. Indulge me for a moment. How did you think this would work out? What was the plan?
The plan was she'd go to a good school. I'd work and finish my bridge program to get my RN license. She'd go to college. I'd pass my certification exam and get a better job. That was the plan.
And how's that going for you?
It was going fine. I didn't anticipate an enrollment audit.
What did you plan to do if you got caught? Did you have a plan?
I honestly didn't think I would.
No.
I did my research. People do this every day all over the country.
Then I'm sure you discovered it's illegal, Denitra. It's a crime. God.
So what now?
What do you mean?
You going to report us?
Shouldn't I?
Are you?
It's bad enough you've lied, but you've got Noelle lying too. What kind of a parent?
Noelle doesn't know.
What?
She doesn't know.
Oh my God, Denitra. Why? Why would you?
I didn't want her to have a complex.
What kind of a complex is she going to have when they find out? She's going to be humiliated. You think the parents don't already suspect that she's a non-resident because she's Black?
I didn't want her to feel like she didn't belong.
She doesn't.
She does. Look at her grades now. She can do the work.
But she must know that she's not supposed to, that she's supposed to go to a school in her neighborhood.
She knows that.
So what did you tell her?
She thinks she's in a gifted and talented pilot program.
Oh my God.
That's all she needs to know.
Unbelievable. What would you have done if she wanted to invite one of her little friends over? Or
you think after seeing their houses, she's going to want to invite them to hers?
You aren't worried that she'd say something to her classmates, her friends?
You know she doesn't have any friends at that school. Why do you think she spends her lunch periods volunteering in your office or in the student store? She doesn't hang out. She works. She studies. She goes to tennis practice. That's it. She's not there for friends. She's there to get an education.
Why didn't you tell me?
How could I have told you, Beverly?
How could you have not? You looked me in my face on multiple occasions and you lied.
I lied to
Me.
them.
No, you lied to me. Can Noelle go home with you after practice? I'm stuck at work preparing briefs for court tomorrow. I can't believe I asked you for legal advice.
What do you want me to say?
The truth. She never turned in those documents because you never gave them to her to turn in, did you? And foolishly, blindly, I swept that under the rug.
I'm
for
sorry,
you.
Beverly. I'm sorry. Is that what you want?
No. What I want is to not be a part of your lie, because you're being investigated, FYI. The private investigator has you on his list. He'll be following you and looking into your affairs. And do you think he's going to miss that I slipped your documentation, that forged, fake, Photoshop documentation into the pile after the deadline? No. When he notices, you think he's going to take it as pure coincidence?
But tell them you didn't do it.
What?
It was a human error, a mix-up. Someone put it in the wrong place.
No, Denitra. You made me an accessory. You intentionally involved. You talk about my staff. They weren't the ones I should be looking out for to stab me in the back. What were you thinking?
I wasn't thinking about you. I was thinking about my daughter.
Oh, please.
I was thinking she's going to have a chance.
Please.
Oh, now you don't have time for a sister's thoughts? Just yesterday, when you thought I was middle class with a law degree, you could listen. But now you know I'm from Newark.
You're not the only one from Newark, Denitra. I'm from Newark. Raised in studded homes on bomb-top potato chips and quarter juice. Yeah, we had it hard, but we grew up fine. And none of us forged government documents. So please spare me your sob story.
Where'd you go to high school?
What does that matter?
I bet you were one of those special Negroes they plucked from the hood concrete to refine. I bet you were part of some pet integration program where they bust you out to some white suburban bliss.
So what if I was?
You think you're better than me, Beverly, with your 3 degrees? You think I didn't work hard enough? You think I don't deserve? I was damn near the top of my high school class, right here in the same neighborhood. I was a cheerleader, volleyball, in youth and government. I did everything by the book. I thought I was going to Harvard. I couldn't figure out how I was the best thing since sliced bread at my school, but I couldn't break 1,000 on the SATs. How was I acing 3 AP classes my senior year, but couldn't pass the national AP tests? Why? When I'm forced to settle for Essex County College, they have me in remedial math and English. How can you graduate high school and need remedial anything? I couldn't even register for some of the classes in my major because I didn't meet those academic standards. I spent 2 years in remedial, embarrassed because I told everyone that I was going to Harvard to be a lawyer. And look at me. Look at me. What was I thinking? I was thinking I didn't want that for Noelle because I want her to know that she meets the highest standards. I wanted her to be able to go to a top 4-year institution where they prepare kids to be the leaders of this world, not the people who take your order. That's what I was thinking about. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry you got caught up. It was not my intention, but I was not thinking about you.
You have to withdraw her, Denitra, tomorrow. People are withdrawn. They walk away voluntarily before the board meeting and there's no penalty, no harm, no foul.
I can't do that.
What other options do you have?
You tell me.
None.
Withdraw her in what? Where's she going to go to school?
Enroll her in her home school.
No.
It's not that bad.
It's not that bad. Would you let Jordan go back? Oh, I get it. It's not that bad for us. That's what you're saying.
They're going to catch you. It's just a matter of time.
Are you worried about me or are you worried about you?
That's not fair.
Why ain't it?
I have a career.
You mean the one where you leave the moment you see how much kids in Newark need? The moment you realize it's not going to be easy?
Excuse me?
If you gave a damn about these kids, you never left, but you did because you could. Well, some of us can't, Beverly. We don't have that option. If people like you would have the presence of mind to see what they're doing and stay and help build the community, we wouldn't need them. If you'd see it as your responsibility, if you'd see yourself in me, but you don't. So you just shove more programs down our throats. We don't want your program. We're tired of people getting paid, feeding us some damn program. We want your love, your commitment, your respect, your pride.
Well, I resent that. I have done more than most people would even think to do. I have given my life to helping people just like you.
Like me?
But I did things the right way, Denitra, the right way. If you want to sneak around and break the law with your child, go right ahead. But I did not sign up to be a part of this. There are real consequences. We could go to jail.
I'm not scared of jail. My goal is not stay out of jail. That's not the worst thing that could happen for me. My goal is to get Noelle a good education. So the worst that could happen to me is that she doesn't get one.
And what about me?
What about you?
I'm implicated.
I know. You gave me the idea.
I gave you the idea.
Yes, when we met at that house.
Please. You were at that house scouting addresses to use.
No,
I didn't give you any. Yeah, you were.
I wasn't.
Then why were you there?
Once, maybe twice a month, we dress up and I take Noelle to an open house in a ritzy neighborhood. We get dressed up and we decide who we'll be. Doctors or news anchors or attorneys. We pretend that's who we are and we go to these houses and fancy restaurants and I expose her to the possibilities. How some people live and work and sleep. Some people have granite countertops and crown molding and marble floors and walk-in closets. That's a possibility. We'd go and I'd tell her, imagine you live here. Imagine you own it. See yourself paying for it. Let yourself feel like it's yours. Remember how it smells, how it feels, and know in your heart that you're going to be there one day. That's why we were there. And then when you said, you affirmed in me that I should do whatever it takes. A good parent does whatever it takes, right? I did. And she's thriving now. She struggled her first year, but she's thriving now. Beverly, you're already involved. I didn't mean for you to be, but you are. So even if I withdraw, they're going to find out and take you to task. Noelle withdrawing is not the solution to your problem. So you hate me. Fine, hate me all you want. But don't not help her stay because you hate me. You left all those other boys and girls spread eagled against the wall. You don't have to leave Noelle there too. All right. That's fine. Sometimes I wonder, I fight so hard to give her what you were given, not earned. That BS about working hard and pulling yourself up by the bootstraps is just that, BS. Opportunity isn't just about merit, it's about positioning. Now, you weren't better than the thousands that didn't get picked. You weren't more capable. Someone let you in. That's it. So you can have all the talent in the world, but if no one lets you in, I've spent this entire time wanting her to be picked. But I'm starting to wonder for what? Because what's the point of getting in if you're telling me the best she could hope for is to turn out like you? You do what you need to do. I've got to go to work, so I'm already late.
Right. Write a formal letter petitioning the district for special permission for an inter-district transfer on an academic basis dated for this past August. Say that Noelle is advanced in math and science and there's no robotics program at her home school. Make sure you mention the award she got last year. Give it to Noelle and tell her to put it in my hand. Don't leave it anywhere with anyone. Don't talk about it, nothing.
What's that going to do?
I'll try to get her name on the special permissions list. If she's granted special permissions from the district, she'll automatically be listed off the TI's radar, and she'll actually legitimately be in the school.
Okay.
I'll do my best to push the request through the proper channels. I'll try to keep her out of the audit report. I'll try. That's all I will do.
Okay. Thank you.
Act 2, Scene 2, a week later, Monday, November 1st, 2010, in the office of Principal Beverly Long. Mike refers to index cards while he rehearses his PowerPoint presentation. He clicks his clicker and a slide projection appears of a chicken and an egg.
What comes first, the chicken or the egg? Or rather, what comes first, the school or the community? The quality of public schools is proven to be the single most attractive amenity for home buyers across America. Having a great school attracts economically stable families and businesses to their community, thus keeping the property values high. At the same time, communities that have higher property values also have higher property tax contributions to their schools. And everybody knows schools that have more money have better education. And the parents tend to be more involved because they've made a substantial investment. School residency fraud devaluates schools and communities because the people coming haven't made an investment. They're not givers, they're takers. Students with a low investment have a lower respect for the school, lower achievement, and the parents are not involved. So your school can go quickly from one like this to one like this. Which means that your community can go from one looking like this to one that looks like this. And just like that, see, the unfortunate murder of that young boy last month, and I'm sure you can see how quickly the residency fraud issue can go from a fiscal issue to a public safety issue. When people are from your neighborhood, they're accountable to the community. People know you and you know them. But when people are not residents, when no one knows them and they don't know nobody, how can you hold them accountable? Well, you can't. So who can protect your community from non-residents? A licensed private investigator can. Let me tell you a little story. I'm born and raised in Newark, First Ward, 7th Avenue. My father bought a home here on the GI Bill year I was born, and it was a nice place to grow up. But my father's generation made a mistake. As certain other people started migrating to the city, they let those people strike fear in their hearts. They let the city build the Columbus Avenue homes, a federal housing project, right there in their community. Then the riots happened. So when I got out of the service in '68, what did I come home to? Newark was worse than the war zone I left. The entire community was unrecognizable to many that had left. And why'd they leave? Well, why didn't they stay and fight? If I'd have been here, I'd have fought. My father's 90 years old. He's still heartbroken. He loved his home. He worked hard for it. He loved the First Ward. I did too. Today, my beloved community has a highway running through it, 280. what was once all Italian is now all Puerto Ricans. Other than a few surviving businesses, the famous Calandra Bakery. It's like we weren't even there. Why let those people, the government, and whoever else interfere with our lives? I'll never understand. All that history, all that pride, lost forever. Now, you got a good thing going here in Millburn, and I can tell you, they're going to come and take it. It's easier than building on your own. And I ask you, are you going to take this opportunity to do everything you can to fight to keep Millburn? Or are you going to just let it go to a bunch of people who don't even live here? Choice is yours. So what comes first? The chicken or the egg? It's neither. Schools come first. Thank you. And then I hope there's a lot of clapping and whatever. So?
This is for
The intro.
our presentation to the board.
Yeah, what do you think? You think it's
I think it's
too long?
I think you could use more
More pictures.
facts, charts, graphs. The board will like facts, school residency fraud statistics.
Oh, you mean like how many cases?
Yes, and in comparison to other areas.
I can see that. I can look into that. Most states don't keep that kind of data, and I know the feds don't, but But other than that,
I think just facts,
it's facts.
no images.
Pictures.
No.
The pictures are what's going to make it, come alive for 'em.
Well,
Otherwise, it's just a bunch of numbers.
no. I think they'll get it.
I want to appeal to their emotions.
That emotion being,
What do you mean?
what emotion do you want people to feel from your presentation?
Passion.
Impassioned.
Yeah, I want them to feel the importance of the issue.
Okay.
I want them to be worried. That's an emotion.
Worried about?
The futures.
Because you think they should be worried?
Absolutely, don't you?
Well, yes, I think we should all be concerned about the future of our schools. But what I don't think we should feel is afraid. And right now, those pictures make me feel like you want me to be afraid.
No.
Afraid in a very specific way. Those
Not
images are very,
I'm not trying to scare
they're
anybody.
very biased.
Think I'm biased?
No, I didn't say you. I think the pictures you chose and how you present them create a very biased look.
Hey, they're real pictures.
I'm sure. But the way you present them,
What way? Like in a slideshow?
no. Back to back and in juxtaposition to, it makes it seem as though the thing we should be afraid of is the ghetto.
Okay.
Yeah?
Aren't you afraid of that?
Excuse me?
Well, you live here in Millburn, right?
Yeah. Yes,
Well,
I do, but
You don't
I'm
want
not.
to. You don't want to live there, do you?
No, but
Because you're afraid.
no,
Get out of here.
I'm not afraid of the ghetto.
Oh, come on, Bev.
Excuse me?
Of course you are. We all are. Nobody wants that.
Well, nobody wants to live in flooded areas either, but we don't use pictures of floods to get people to move to the desert.
Huh?
And please, refrain from calling me Bez. You may be fine with Mike, but I am not fine with Bez. Do I look like a Bez to you? No. Address me as Dr. Long, Principal Long, Mrs. Long, but never Bez.
What's your issue?
Those pictures, and only those pictures, make it seem as though there's nothing good in those environments. I think it paints a lopsided picture.
Oh, it shows what can happen when people don't care.
It makes it seem like Black people are the only ones who don't care.
So, what do you prefer? I throw in some Latinos, some trailer trash. Would that be all right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Then throw in some Guidos and Guineas. Why not? And some Chinks and some Patties and some Gypsies and some Hicks and some Hillbillies. Then why not throw in some Towelheads and some Kites and some Spicks and some Rednecks and some African booty scratchers and whoever else, and then we would be even. That would be great. I apologize. Okay, that was inappropriate. Look, I said all that to say I prefer if you didn't use any images. You can only present to the board on Wednesday if you create an appropriately professional presentation that sticks to the facts.
Fine.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm going to have to rework the entire
I'm
presentation.
sure you can do it.
Yeah, fine.
So on Wednesday, you'll do your intro, and I'll present the cases and recommendations, and then we'll take questions.
I think I should present the cases.
And why do you think that?
Because they're mine. The board hired me to do them. They should hear the results from me.
The board will hear the cases from me. This is my school. These are my students. I'm the principal. Principal, nonetheless. And if you have a problem with that, please let me know. I'm sure we can find a replacement. Great. Last week, we had 17 non-residents, 3 violators, 2 withdrawn. And this week you have? And this week you have?
15 non-residents. I know 5 of the 15 withdrew voluntarily, so that leaves 10 violators.
So I'll start by saying we've identified 22 non-residents. And that's what, 2% of enrollment?
You're the genius here, huh, Doc? Dr. Long? Yeah, it's about 1.5%.
And who are the 10 from this week?
First up, Noel Morgan, 10th grade.
Okay.
I've been investigating this student for the last couple of days.
Weren't we waiting to see if she was on the special permissions list? I thought I told you to hold off.
It did, and I was, but then I noticed a couple of, interesting things.
Things like?
Well, when I thought about it, I realized special permission students shouldn't have the red flag list, shouldn't make the red flag list. Why? Well, because they don't lie about their address. They don't gotta. They got special permission. The Wells registration form lists a house in Millburn. Public record says Newark. So she lied.
Well, not necessarily. Maybe she recently moved.
I thought about that too. The house that she says was her residence is listed on the market, but the parent is not the seller. And the house has been on the market for almost 2 years, which leads me to a logical question. Where does she live? When I look into this question, I found something else very interesting. When we left last week, I actually went to Mrs. Scabetta and I asked her to give me the special permissions list. Yeah, I don't want to bother, sometimes things go slow in your office, CP time, I guess. Anyway, I figured I'd get it from her myself. And then later in the week, you sent over a list, and there was a difference. The special permission list she gave me had no Noel, but the one you gave me, Noel. So I went up to the district office to see what this was all about and found out that she recently applied for special permission, which is odd. I mean, why would a child already enrolled apply for special permission? I mean, ain't that something you do before school starts?
No, no, not necessarily.
But then something else happened I found most interesting. I saw that her updated residency documents ain't had no timestamp on it. You know, most kids, they turn them into the office stamps them to prove that they were there on time, but these, nothing. See, I mean, nothing. It's like somebody slipped them into the pile after the fact. Now, who would do that? Then I saw you at the address listed on the registration form.
He pins the picture of Beverly onto the bulletin board.
Odd. Because you just closed on a house last year. You're already in the market for a new one? I mean, your husband may be a big shot engineer, but according to the tax records, you don't have enough money for 2 houses in Millburn. So I ask myself, how does this all link up? Why would you be at this address? I mean, who would have the authority to slip documents in late? Who could add her name to the special permissions list? Then I looked into where you were before you came here. Assistant Superintendent of Newark Public Schools. What, you think I'm stupid? I've been doing this a long time, lady. What, is she your student or something? Is that what you're doing? Smuggling kids in from Newark?
No, I'm not smuggling.
Well, what were they? Were they your students? Malik, Nikkole? Well,
No. I didn't know either of them. I didn't know Malik didn't live.
but you knew
in
Noel didn't.
Yes, I've come to know. Yes.
You're helping her.
You don't know what she's facing.
No matter what she's facing. That's not our problem.
Well, maybe it should be.
What?
Maybe it should be everyone's problem. Those kids in Newark.
No. Newark isn't one of those underfunded. Our tax dollars have gone over and above and beyond. They get $900 million from the state to educate those kids, plus $100 million from that Facebook Zuckerberg guy, and the damn kids still can't read and write it up to par. So where the money's going? Down the toilet, that's where. They don't want to learn.
They do want to learn. All children want to learn. Noelle wants to learn. Look at her grades. She went from almost failing last year to finishing near the top of some of her classes. But what's going to happen to her if she's thrown back into that environment?
If they don't like the environment, they should be the ones to fix it.
Have you ever seen a kid, a good kid, a capable kid ready to learn, like a sponge? Have you ever seen a kid like that relegated to a bad situation?
They should move.
They can't afford to.
They should save, like we
The
did.
children can't save. The kids can't do anything about whatever situation they're in. And I've seen kids, bright, intelligent kids, limited to the culture of that. It rubs off onto you. Your kids, they don't have to battle crime and violence and metal detectors and police brutality and gang members and child care facility for the children of teenagers and no lunch money and generations of under and miseducation and low expectations and black faces saying, Stop acting white. How dare you try to be more? And white faces saying, go back to your town. You're black. You aren't good enough to be here with us. Your children didn't. Your grandchildren won't. They won't have to make it out of anything to get what they need. They can spend their whole lives right here and prosper and grow if they want to.
Hey, that's because we participate in our communities. We hold our representatives accountable. If those parents bothered to show up at a school board meeting or two, then maybe they, oh, that's a cop-out. So they don't have no responsibility for
the
nothing?
state runs the school system in Newark. It doesn't matter how much the parents participate. The state decides how to spend the money.
Yes, the money, my hard-earned money. You know how much Newark high school kids get per kid? $23,000. Our kids, 17. Those kids get $6,000 more per kid, and they still don't have
It doesn't
any.
cost more to teach them. It costs more to
I
keep
ain't keeping them
there.
anywhere.
Yes, you are. We all
Now,
are.
how am I keeping them?
They need special programs, special services. That's what costs. Lumping poor people together costs everyone more. That's the problem. The concentration, not the kids. The cost would be lower if the schools were integrated, if all the schools had kids from all socioeconomic backgrounds.
Come on.
You know, if it's truly about the money for you, you would call the representatives you hold so accountable, and you would say, integrate the schools by county. It would cost taxpayers less. Or you'd have Millburn sign up for state school choice programs, so the school could receive money to let students from other districts come. So call your representative and tell them that that's what you want to do. You want to let kids in Newark come to school here because it would lower your tax burden and give the school a source of unrestricted income, since that's your chief concern, the money. You don't want to do that, do you? Because you don't want them here. You're paying to keep them away from us. That's where the money is going. We are paying to keep them over there. Do they deserve that? Does Noel deserve that? Can you at least admit that no child, no matter where they're born, deserves to be confined to that? Okay. At least wait for the results of the special permission petition to go through. See what the district has to say. It may be a moot point if they...
Hey.
It's only one girl, Mike. One girl getting the chance she deserves. One girl.
Principals are supposed to do what's best for the schools, for the community, not individual students, right? The people of Millburn trusted you.
Mike picks up his belongings, including his camera.
Okay, just wait a second. Let's just wait.
Both have jobs to do. I'm going to do mine. You should do yours. While you still got one.
Mike.
Mike.
Act 2, Scene 3. Later that afternoon after school, Mike is posted outside Denitra's house. Denitra comes storming out. She catches him in a moment of being unaware.
Excuse me. Yes, you. Can I have a word with you?
Hey, you are the,
Yeah, remember me? I know who you are, what you do.
What are you doing here?
Are you following my daughter?
Wait, you live here?
She walks into the house freaked out because she says a white man has been following her. Are you some kind of pervert? I'm talking to you.
I've got to respond.
You ain't got to respond? You do, sir. You do have to respond when you're following people.
I'm on public property.
I don't care where you are. You cannot follow a child. That's harassment. That's against the law.
Not against the law.
If you have a problem with me, sir, then follow me. But what you will not do is follow my child, you pervert. I'm calling the cops. Oh, that's funny to you. You think I won't?
I think the cops in Newark got more serious stuff to attend to.
Hello? Yes, Clinton Avenue. There's a pervert following my teenage daughter. Yes. He's an old white man. Can't miss him. He's the only white person in a 10-block radius. Yes, he's threatening. He's following my... You know what? I'll take your picture. Post it with the pedophiles.
Do not take my picture.
How's it feel, huh? How's it feel for someone to violate your space, huh? You ain't the only one can take pictures. I got a goddamn camera too. How about that? And I'm gonna post them all over social media. The pedophile following my child.
I ain't no pedophile. I'm a private investigator, well within my legal rights in public spaces.
How'd you like it if I go follow your kid around?
My kid ain't breaking the law, lady.
My
kid ain't breaking the law. I raised law-abiding citizens. I didn't teach them the kids to lie and cheat.
You racist.
I am not a racist.
Yes.
Oh, you people kill me with that. A person says the truth, does what the law says to do, and he's a racist. No. You're the racist.
I can't be
a racist quack. That's you are. You're a criminal.
What's my crime? Wanting to educate my daughter?
Stealing. That's what your crime is,
Why
lady.
do you steal free education? She's entitled to it. It's our civil right.
Oh, civil right. What are you talking about civil? You're not doing this for civil rights. You're not marching for anybody but yourself. Civil rights. Martin Luther King would be turning over in his grave to see you. You're nothing like they were. They were upstanding. They wore suits and spoke good, proper English. They took care of their homes and they paid the taxes and prayed to God. And look what you people did to Newark.
I didn't do this to Newark. I didn't make Newark. I just live here. I take care
Just
of it.
look at all the buildings still boarded up. You know what used to be over there? A 5 and dime. And around the corner, a grocery. My father's grocery. You claim your civil right. What about my civil rights?
I'm not trying to take your rights. I'm trying to give my daughter a chance.
Yeah, by scamming the system.
She's just going to school. What do you lose by her going to a better school?
Everybody can't go to Millburn High School, lady. Stay in your own neighborhood. That's the law.
You don't care about the law.
I spent my whole life upholding the law, lady. My whole life.
All the time. You and your little citizens group.
Oh, crazy. You're just
I look y'all up, hypocrites. What you did to those Jewish people was shameful. And you talk about all the stuff.
What Jewish people? What are you talking
The
about?
Jewish people, y'all. That's exactly what we're talking about. You don't care about the law. You just care about keeping us out, keeping Jews out. And then
What are you talking about?
And then when the Jewish people took y'all to court for applying the rules differently, what did y'all do? Huh?
What?
Or don't you know? You don't even know, do you? Ain't that some shit? Telling me to look it up. You spend all your time investigating us and you never even looked into what kind of group your citizens council is?
You don't know. Don't you try
Ain't
it.
you supposed to be an investigator? Ain't you supposed to investigate shit?
Just shut your mouth, lady.
You're so busy checking us, you never even think to check to see if your own goddamn group was. That's right. Walk your ass on, fucking racist.
You're crazy and
You're a
stupid,
coward.
lady.
Coward. Talking about
Just
your
get
laws.
out of my way.
You know them laws don't protect us.
Just get out of
They
here.
benefit you.
Move.
Keep you high on the
No right.
grovel
Move.
scraps.
Your daughter ends up groveling for scraps. It's because she turned out to be nothing but a welfare queen, lying and cheating the system, just like her mother.
Denitra slaps Mike.
My daughter is going to be great. She's going to be great.
I didn't mean your daughter.
You stay the hell away from Noelle. Don't you be following her no more. You stay the hell away from my child or I will try me.
Denitra enters her apartment and leans on the door. Realizing what she has done, she grabs her things and exits. Act 2, Scene 4. That night, a half an hour later, Beverly's office. Beverly prepares to leave for the evening. Denitra enters with trepidation.
Beverly, I caught you.
What are you doing here?
I went to your house and your husband said you were still at school, so I thought,
Hey, what's wrong?
oh, I didn't hear from you about the special permission. Did she get it?
That's what you came all the way up here for?
Oh, now I'm coming all the way up. Newark is 15 minutes up Springfield Ave, Beverly.
I just mean you could have called.
Did she get it?
No. There's a moratorium on approvals until after the audit. I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay. Okay, well, first of all, I want to say thank you.
Denitra.
I never had no one, no teacher, no administrator do as much for Noelle as you have. And I know we're not friends, that we're not. Thank you for trying.
Why? Why are you talking like this?
I just want you to know I'm grateful. And that I never intended to cause you any trouble.
What's done is done.
There's more. Something happened between me and the private investigator. He was following Noelle, and she came in the house. She was scared. She didn't know who he was, and
Wait, what happened?
I went out to confront him, and
No, come on.
we got into an altercation. I'm not worried about him, but I just thought I should let you know, since I knew you had to work with him.
I doubt I'll be working with him after.
I'm sorry.
No, it's not you. He found the registration documents I slipped into the pile. So
You?
no, but they will.
What are you gonna do?
What can I do? But for you, there's something more you can do.
What?
I recommend that you take this last opportunity to withdraw her. Sign and pull her. Once she's on record, there's nothing you can do.
I guess at the end of the day, we gotta accept it, huh?
Look, it's not what you want, but there are other options. There are some good high schools in Newark. University, technology. I can call some people I know to try to cash in some savings, or she can reapply to some charter schools next year. And
Yeah, you mean so they can play the lottery with her life again?
we'll find something
When?
as soon as we can.
She doesn't have time. This is her time, right here, right now.
Going to school in Newark is not the end of the world. There are lots of students who graduate, go to college, have careers, find lives. It's not an automatic condemnation.
No, you don't. You don't know what I went through. That school robbed me of my future. I put in my all, and it.
You still have a future.
No, I
You
don't.
can be, yes, you do.
There are no 38-year-old undergraduates at Harvard, Beverly. There's a window, like a window of opportunity. You have to seize if you're going to be. Mine has come and gone. That's not going to happen to her. I can't let it happen to her. I can't.
Okay.
But I can't sign this. I won't be the one to cut her off.
All right.
I want her to win.
So do I. But we broke the law, Denitra.
Rosa Parks broke the law. Sojourner Truth broke the law. Frederick Douglass learned to read and broke the law. So why should we respect a law that don't respect us? Help me so that she can win.
I don't know what else to do. I've done all that I can do.
Well, you could do something else. If you want her to do well, if you want her to have a shot.
I do. What?
You can take her. I want you to take her. I want you to take guardianship of Noelle.
Denitra, you don't even know what you're saying. Wait to see what happens tomorrow. Wait and see.
Nope, I can't wait for them to decide what happens to us. We decide our fate. We decide, not them. I thought about it. I'd be okay with it if I knew she was getting her education. Will you? You and your husband are stable. Even if they fire you, you still live in Millburn, so you could take her, and then they couldn't make her go. They'd have to take her, and she can finish and go on and be like you.
I am not the be-all, end-all.
Dude, you got a good life.
Do I?
You look at your house. You have a career. You have a family. You have nice things. You're comfortable.
Yes. Yes. I'm glad for that. I'm not going to lie, but that, let me tell you what happens, Denitra. I've accomplished all of this, but I haven't seen my family in over a year. Jordan doesn't know his cousins in Newark. Want to know why? Because I'm ashamed of that. Because I look down on that. That's the residue. I was just like Noelle. My mother was just like you. I got lucky. I left home. I went to a good school, but it was hard. I sat in classrooms or in empty stairwells at lunch. I felt so alone. If you let her go, she may end up feeling like she doesn't belong with you, like you're beneath her. She won't want to feel that way, but she will, and not in her mind. In her marrow, she will feel that she doesn't belong here, but she won't belong there either. She'll be a floater trying to anchor herself with her accomplishments and her stuff, when all she really wants to do is feel she's okay being in her own skin. This is not just good school versus bad school. This is choosing between the possibility of being successful and her sense of self. Choosing my way being with me won't necessarily be better for her, Denitra. It may mean better school, better job, but not necessarily better for her as a person. She can stay with you, and we'll make sure that she has outside academic support, and I can have tutors come, and we can make this. Listen to me.
If we have to choose, being ashamed is better than being stuck. It's better than being in this situation. It's better than being like me.
Oh, there is nothing wrong with you.
I know it's a lot to answer now. I know you have to speak to your family. Just please think about it. Think about it, please. Please.
Okay.
Act 2, Scene 5, afternoon, Wednesday, November 3rd, 2010. Millburn Board of Education residency fraud hearing. The lights are dimmed around Mike and his projection screen. Mike fingers index cards and takes in the boardroom attendees for some time. Beverly sits at a table nearby. Denitra enters. Mike takes them in. He takes in the audience as the members of the school board and community. He clears his throat. Finally, he clicks his clicker and a slide appears of a chicken and an egg.
What comes first, the chicken or the egg? Or rather, what comes first, the school or the community? What's the number one reason families choose to live in a certain neighborhood? It's the schools. A good school attracts good people, good business, keeping the property value high. Conversely, communities that have high property values usually have higher tax revenue. And everybody knows schools that have more money have better education. And parents tend to be more involved because they've made an investment. School residency fraud puts an undue burden on the community, making there be more people to serve the system than was designed to take. So your schools can go from one looking like this to one looking like this. And crowded classrooms, student test scores go from looking like this to ones like this. Like it or not. And once the grades go, the quality of education is questionable, and everything else is out the window. But a licensed private investigator can make sure your school stays strong. Let me tell you a little story. I'm born and raised in Newark. Oh, I got such great memories. Sometimes I forget we were poor. Sometimes poor as dirt. But somehow I was able to get a good education in my neighborhood. I didn't have to leave it to have that chance. I didn't have to choose between my family, my community, and the future. And though my father worked 2, sometimes 3 jobs, he did everything in his power to make sure we got an education, because he wanted us to have a better life. He didn't have to break the law to give us that chance. But if that was the only way he felt he had to make sure that we did, well, I think he would. And I got an education, and I was able to do better than him and give my kids an education, and they're doing better than me. I'm proud of that. Every parent wants their kid to be able to do better. Every teacher, every principal worth of salt wants every child to be able to have their fair shot at being better. Unfortunately, not everybody's got that chance. And it breaks my heart. Because it ain't the kids' fault. No, it's our fault. The adults. Unfortunately, it's the law. And the law's the law.
Mike opens his file to reveal the final report. He looks at it for some moments. He looks at the audience for some moments. Then
I'll leave you with Principal Long to relay the details of our investigation and her recommendations for each. Principal Long?
Beverly, stunned, looks to Mike. After a few moments, she rises. He hands her the list. She looks at the list and at the boardroom attendees. She clears her throat.
Thank you, Mr. DiMaggio, for that introduction. Mr. DiMaggio conducted an electronic enrollment evaluation, community interviews, and surveillance, which helped him identify the students in violation. First, Lauren Baker, 9th grade, recommended expulsion and restitution.
As Beverly calls off the names, pictures are projected by Mike, She stops and looks at the page. Beverly looks at Mike. Beverly looks to Denitra and the boardroom attendees.
Noel Morgan, 1 year in violation. Recommended expulsion and restitution.
Denitra exits and Beverly watches her go. Beverly continues to read the names and each child appears. The lights contract around Beverly as she's left alone with the images of the children called, swirling around her.
Tabitha Spencer, 10th grade, 1 year in violation, expulsion and restitution. Miranda Morris, 11th grade, 2 years in violation, expulsion and restitution. Brandon McGuire, 12th grade, 3 years in violation, expulsion and restitution.
Act 2, Scene 6. That night, hours later, Denitra's apartment. Denitra walks to her door and peers through the peephole. She opens the door and Beverly stands.
Come in.
Thank you.
Can I get you something to drink?
No, thank you.
Can I take your coat?
No, I'm okay.
Okay. Congratulations. I mean, on keeping your job. That's really great.
Yes.
Okay, well, you said you want to talk to me about something?
Listen, I hope you understand why I couldn't omit her.
No, I get it. I understand.
I couldn't condemn the other 19 and not.
I know. I know.
I'm sorry.
Did you give any thought to what we talked about in your office?
Yes. Yes, I did.
I mean, I'll understand if you decided that you can't.
I decided that I would. I talked it over with my husband. Jordan was excited and we were all set to do it, but
You're going to do it, but
it's more complicated than I thought. And
Beverly, whatever needs to happen, I thought about what you said. It's never too late for me to
no, that's not it.
Then what?
How much do you make a year?
Why?
It's important.
About 35, 40,000 a year. What? Why does that matter?
I went to the county offices in the district to get the paperwork I need to take guardianship of Noelle and enroll her under my address. And when I looked it over, you can't just transfer guardianship to me. Transferring just so she can go to school is illegal. You have to prove that you can't take care of your child financially, mentally. You need someone to intervene.
Okay, so what do I have to do?
You'd have to lose your capacity to earn as much, or there has to be a medical issue or something in order to legally.
How much money do you have to make?
You have to be at the state poverty level. They won't let me take her and enroll her unless, and you have to prove. And they're going to look after everything that's, there's no way they're not going to look.
God, I can't, I couldn't make this up. It's just,
Denitra.
you know how hard I work to make that much money a year? You know how many hours, how much feces and blood and piss and pus and God knows.
I know.
I mean, what else do they want from me? Seriously, what else? I'm willing to give you my child. What?
We'll think of something else. Well,
we?
Yes.
No, go home, Beverly. You tried.
No.
Go home.
I'm not leaving.
Go.
No. I'm here. I'm here, Denitra. I'm not leaving. I'm here.
Beverly takes off her coat, drops her purse, and settles in. Denitra picks up the documents. She looks them over, then puts them down. They sit in silence, and you simultaneously get the sense that these women will work together to shift the tide, and that the tide may swallow them whole.